Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by FPL expert FPL Heisenberg to preview Gameweek 15. Wes, very quick turnaround for this one. Just, how many hours is it? Under 48? It's like a couple of days. It's getting crazy now. This is December. This is the period that we absolutely love. But we're not going to dwell on last game week for too long before getting into your team for Game Week 15. But very quickly, how was last game week?
Very frustrating. Not too big of a red arrow. The overall team wasn't too frustrating in general, but the main one was doing Watkins to Darwin, which made a lot of sense for my team because we spoke about last week. I needed to free up 0.7 million to afford my transfers this week. And Watkins to Darwin wasn't on my radar at that point because I wanted to hold Watkins. But with him being an injury doubt and not sure to play, it frees up the exact money I need for my future moves. So that was one tick in the box. Darwin obviously had 3 good fixtures, whereas Watkins had, maybe missing Bournemouth and then 2 tough ones. And I couldn't roll a transfer either because I had 2 in the bank. So I had to use one or lose one. So for my team and my circumstances, it wasn't right for everyone. Still feel like it was right for my team. Obviously, points-wise, it didn't work out, but I don't regret the decision. So yeah, I'm happy that it allows my future moves now. And yeah, I'm just looking at the rest of our team. The captaincy worked out just about. Again, a little bit gutted that Haaland didn't get more.
So much more.
But I guess I haven't seen the full extended highlights of the Liverpool game. I guess probably Salah could have got more in that one. I'm not too sure. Need to catch up on some extended highlights because obviously Liverpool scored 4, so I guess we got a little bit lucky in terms of Salah not.
But they were all worldies. They were all worldies, and I don't think Salah was too heavily involved. To be fair, I mean, even his assist was for a shot outside the box. True. We saw the big chances that Haaland missed, a couple of them.
Yeah. And Haaland could have got that assist right at the end until the ref.
That's a good point as well. That was
absolute.
Mental.
Yeah. Which meant he then obviously lost his head and got a yellow card. So
yeah.
He should have at least, if that didn't get blown up, he'd have at least one more point, even if Grealish doesn't score. True. But if Grealish goes ahead and scores that, he doesn't get a yellow. He gets 3 more points, probably bonus.
Could be a net 7-point difference there. You never know, depending on how the bonus was looking. Because of that yellow. Yeah.
And I guess a few other unlucky things. Palmer being benched and then got subbed on just after the penalty was scored, I think. And then Gabriel, late clean sheet, wipe out. Fabian Schär could have had, he had a good few shots in that game. He got fouled for the Trippier free kick that hit the bar, would have been his assist as well. Julian Alvarez hit the post as well. Taylor on my bench. So just all round, a lot of frustrating things. But yeah, I don't regret any of the decisions I make. I'm the first one to hold my hands up if I feel like I've made a mistake. We all make plenty at FPL. I make plenty at FPL, but I don't feel like this was a mistake. Some people might disagree, which is fair enough, but I don't feel this is a mistake for my team and my circumstances.
I agree.
Our remove made sense.
I do agree. I feel like perhaps people that went for Darwin got slightly punished a little bit for having more free transfers and people that necessarily couldn't get there and were, because you got to remember pre-deadline, a lot of people were like, "Oh, I'm really jealous of the Watkins to Darwin move." We thought that Darwin was nailed on. Watkins had that doubt, and it's a much
ahead of
better
Fulham and
fixture on
Sheffield
paper.
United, wasn't it?
At least definitely a better run. But it's easy to say afterwards, "Oh, should have held him." But
and I relate this to the Bowen situation a couple of weeks ago. So those who had Bowen and maybe sold him when he was a doubt before Burnley, that could have easily stung as well because we didn't know for sure he was ruled out against Burnley, but he obviously did miss out. So he could have absolutely hauled in that one because he was on great form, obviously going into that game. And then he returns this game week against Palace and plays the 90 minutes, but just blanks. So people who sold Bowen 2 weeks ago have got him missing a game and then a blank. Perfect result, but that could have been so different. We just didn't know he was ruled out. It could have been the exact same situation as this Watkins situation. The fixtures for Bowen, if you look at those 2 fixtures, were actually better than what Watkins has got as well. So yeah, for those who sold Bowen 2 weeks ago, it worked out. For those who held him, it didn't. And again, this Watkins situation, we just didn't know. He could have missed the Bournemouth game, and then with the games coming thick and fast, who knows if he's even back for these 2 tough fixtures. So yeah, based on everything we knew, I was fine. If Emery comes out and says he's absolutely fine to play against Bournemouth, I wouldn't have done the move, but. I went off what he did. Yeah. What I could really.
That's very fair. It's very fair. Yeah, and especially as you say, throughout this December period where there are so many games, that's one of the reasons why I was very happy to sell Bowen. It's just if the manager is putting some doubt in him in his ability to play, the games are so quick, so thick and fast coming up that you need your players to be 100% fit. So I could never say that was a bad move.
When did you take out Bowen? This week or last week?
No, this week because I thought I played him last week and then. He didn't play at all and obviously got the auto sub. And then this week I was like, I wanted to do other moves. I wanted to get Mbermo in and there was a midfield option for me to go for. And I was, as I say, I don't want to carry someone through December. Like,
Exactly.
who knows? He may have had a continuous injury that we didn't know about, and Moyes was not clear. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of him.
So that, and again, that highlights my point. So that was the right decision for you, and it's worked out points wise as well. You've gained 3 points on that transfer, but again, we could be looking at, you could be sat here. I'm sat here with regret, of course. I regret the points I've lost, but I don't regret the decision.
Yeah.
And it would have been the same for you if Mbomo blanks against Luton and Bowen gets a brace against Palace, which is a perfectly reasonable scenario. Then you're sat here thinking, oh, if only I just, held Bowen. But you can't think like that. Sometimes transfers will work out like it has for you, and other times it will backfire, and you just gotta roll with the punches in this game.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to your team for the upcoming game week. Now, you told me off camera before we started recording, you already know what you're going to do with your team this week.
Yeah, sometimes I'm very flexible and sort of very open, and I leave it till close to the deadline. But this was something that I think we spoke about in the last video. Yeah. I was looking at ways of freeing up a little bit of money, which was potentially going to be Leno to Kelleher. I needed to free up essentially 0.7 last week with my transfer, which would allow me this week Alvarez and Diaby out for Son and Semenyo. So yeah, which I've now got the exact money in the bank, and there's doesn't seem to be any price changes that are going to affect that. So I'll probably pull the trigger Tuesday afternoon, I guess. I'll keep an eye on price changes site on Hub. But yeah, that again, that was priced into my thinking about getting Darwin last week. And now I can do that for free. Again, I contemplated getting Son in for the -4 last week. I predicted him to do well against City. He did. But again, I don't really regret. It didn't feel right taking a minus to get a player in before they face City, as good as Son is. And I guess he only returned points because Edison let one flat through his hands. But I don't regret not getting Son, but I'm happy I have the money to get him this week. The only thing that's sort of put a bit of doubt in my mind is, could I get a cheaper midfielder instead of Son, the likes of an Anthony Gordon, who's doing very well, have, say, 3.5-ish million in the bank, which would allow, Tsimikas to Trent at some point, or Shah to Trippier. Like, I've got a Liverpool defender and a Newcastle defender, but I haven't got the best defender from those teams. I've been happy to have a cheap defense up until now, but yeah, will I want money? Possibly, but I think I will go for Son. The other thing to talk about, I was going to go for someone like Archer because he didn't have the African Cup of Nations like Semenyo will, but Bournemouth's short-term fixtures are better, and Sheffield United is such a bad team compared to Bournemouth that are semi-decent. Bournemouth are probably going to finish
attacking. They look all right. They've got, they're creating a lot of chances. Semenyo in particular, as you mentioned in last game week's video, and once again, a really impressive game from him. Just looking super sharp.
I really prefer him to Archer. And that was my initial thought. I changed. I think I said last week that I'm going to have to get the player that I actually don't want because of AFCON. But then I just think, you know what? The 4 players I'll have going to AFCON once I've done this move and the Asian Cup will be Son, Mbomo, Salah, and Semenyo. But in Game Week 18, when Mbomo blanks, I'll probably move him on anyway. I'll try and save 2 free transfers going into AFCON. Semenyo can sit on my bench during AFCON anyway. Even once AFCON comes around, do I really want to be playing Archer for 3 or 4 game weeks? Probably not anyway. So yeah, I'll use free transfers nearer AFCON, nearer Game Week 21. So yeah, the transfers sort of Game Week 18, 19, 20, 21, those 4 free transfers will be geared towards removing some of the assets and then maybe benching some assets during AFCON as well. I haven't fully made my mind, but I think I'll be able to navigate it anyway. If I have to take a -4, I have to take a -4 or something like that. But yeah, I just don't want to get in I might actually need some Semenyo over this short-term period over the next sort of 4, 5, 6 game weeks, and Bournemouth fixtures are actually decent, and I really like Semenyo as an option. So if Palmer does pick up a knock, or I don't know, whoever picks up a knock in my team, I wouldn't actually mind playing Semenyo, but I would mind playing Archer.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say those 2 moves have massively improved your game week rating and team rating. You've gone from an 89% to a 97% for this game week with 2 moves, which is a lot. It's very rare to see that much of an increase with just 2 transfers, especially one that will come onto your bench. But you mentioned Son last game week, and it's kind of paid off. A lot of people were speaking about, I say paid off. Obviously, you didn't get the points from him, but you were proved right by his performance against City. And now we see a lot of people looking to reverse that sort of transfer, people that were perhaps looking to get him out. But yeah, as you said, Son and a striker in a very attacking Spurs team. We saw again that that they went for it still. 3 goals against City is very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he a player that you should be recommending him to obviously your transfer in this week? Would you recommend him for other managers out there?
Yeah, and if you look at the fixtures as well, I think it's 3 home fixtures out of the next 4, is it? West
Yeah.
Ham are conceding loads of goals. The next one's Newcastle, okay, tough fixture, but generally speaking, the fixtures are actually good. And like I said, I didn't even mind that City fixture just gone, so I was really surprised. If I'd have had him in my team, there's no way I'd have sold him.
Mm.
I guess people were getting frustrated because he's relatively expensive and it was 3 blanks in a row. But just watching those games, what he was blanking in, absolutely got away with it. And as a non-owner, I wanted to get away with it for one more week against City,
Yeah.
but he deservedly got points, and I don't begrudge his owners of that at all. But yeah, I'm just happy people sold him, so he went down in price, and it didn't hurt as much, I guess, because people
That's
sold him.
very
But yeah,
true.
fixtures are great now, and he's the type of player you actually want for this period, rather than a rotation risk player, because Son is their talisman. He's going to play every game. Whereas some players, we can't necessarily say that about. There might be a little bit of rotation here and there. Maybe the player I bought in, I took a little bit of a gamble on Darwin's minutes. Maybe he gets some managed minutes with Gakpo sniffing around. I don't know. But yeah, I was happy to take that risk with the fixture. But yeah, Son, great asset in any fixture, as he proved. And now the fixtures are nice, nailed on for this period. The only thing I would say is, like I said, he is so expensive. So am I making a mistake? I'm not. Obviously, Son's a great asset. We all know that, and he should score me points. If I get him in and he blanks 4 times in a row, I've got unlucky. He should score me points, right? But am I making a mistake? But like I said earlier on in the video, should I get Gordon for 3.6 million cheaper or whatever it is and reinvest? I can then in the future get a Trent or Trippier, which that is so tempting to me. But
Yeah.
I just really want Son. I'm reasonably happy with my defense, but yeah, players like Trippier and Trent are so powerful.
It's a really valid point because these players that we Trippier and Trent have been Trippier nailed on in everyone's team last season. Trent has been nailed on in everyone's team for 4 seasons. Why is it now that just because we have some attackers that are doing pretty well, and there are some budget players out there that are also doing well, but we're still kind of, as you say, potentially not going for them? Why are we ignoring these super consistent players in the likes of Trippier and Trent that, yeah, they had a little bit of an off spell for a period of time, but now they both seem to be back doing really, really well. Trent especially now, just insane goal threat. Trippier, though, another double-digit haul. Are we ignoring these players? Yeah, as you say, Shah and Simicast, is that enough, really?
Yeah, I'm not happy with it, but I'm also not happy to go without Son. So I guess you have
I'm
to
in the same boat as you, by the way,
somewhere.
as a lot of people are. Just
Yeah.
make that clear.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
But how to manage that, I'm not sure. Maybe at some point, could I pivot from Darwin to a cheap striker, start playing 4-5-1 and reinvest the money in defense? I don't really. Usually that comes back to bite you when you have such an inflexible front line. And I do plan on getting Watkins back for around Gameweek 17, 18 in place of Darwin anyway, especially for Gameweek 18 when Villa have Sheffield United. So I don't see myself doing that. We see Simicast and Shah have some attacking threat? Can they not match those two, but match them enough? I don't know if they can.
I don't think they can.
No. So again, that's where I could change my mind over the week, where I might still do these moves, but or maybe I hold the RB and save that money and just reinvest in the defense, because I could do Alvarez to Semenyo and then use that money to go Trent this week or Trippier this week. I could do that. It's just I've had again, this could be an incorrect way to play FPL and a sort of almost a bias for me, I guess. But I've got such a single track mind to get Son that I've had for a little while now, that it isn't allowing me the flexibility to now consider. I'm obviously, we're talking about them now, so I am considering Trent and Trippier, of course I am. But yeah, if I get Son, I'm almost making my bed in terms of not being able to get them. So it is actually a really big decision getting Son this week. Do I just let Son keep getting some points and hope Gordon, or I don't know who's another cheap option off the top of my head, someone like Hwang from Wolves or whoever I could get in that slot? Is it better to do that? Or like I said, hold the RB at 6-ish million, 6.5-ish million, and save that transfer for that slot and just reinvest that 3 million instead of spending it on Son, spend it on Trippier or Trent, which could be the wise move.
It's hard though, because you'd be going against the grain as well, because as you say, a lot of people have Son, and Trippier, yeah, he's still highly owned. Trent is pretty low owned, to be honest. So yeah, Trippier compared to Son is probably. I mean, he is, to be fair, just as much of a threat to your rank. It's just it's whether you want to go without someone that can be as explosive as Son. But when you have the consistency of those two fullbacks, it is sometimes. I do sometimes think, why are we just seemingly ignoring these players? We're not ignoring them, and a lot of you have them in your team, of course, but it's just hard because they're so much more than the likes of a Simicast and a Shah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. They cost much more money. The clean sheet threat is obviously the same,
Yeah,
assuming that they're nailed on. Maybe Simicast isn't as like Shah's completely nailed
yeah,
as is Trippier. So from that point of view, you guaranteed the same map clean sheet points. It's just the attacking returns. It's just frustrating with Shah because, like I said, he could have easily got some an attacking return in that Man United game. He played really, really well. And then even when I checked the bonus, he did really poor on the bonus system. Even though I thought, from a watching the game point of view, he did really well. But yeah, I think it's unreasonable to assume, Simicast isn't going to score the goals that Trent is. Trent's really found his goal form recently, hasn't he? It only went down as one goal at the weekend, but it was basically two goals, wasn't it? It was quite unlucky for that to go down as an assist. The one that I don't know if you saw the goal.
Ah, I didn't know that one. I didn't know that. Oh, it's
Yeah,
interesting. Did it come off the keeper?
the Trent free kick changed to a Leno own goal.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't see
so he
that.
gets he
Oh,
gets the he gets a
interesting.
big haul because he
It got
gets
the
an
assist.
assist
Okay.
and
Yeah.
a goal, and I think it was the three bonus, so he gets the big haul. But yeah, it would have been even bigger.
Yeah.
Trippier's got the like with Simicast, who was on my bench a couple of weeks ago against Brentford.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought he was gonna get benched. He ends up
Same.
getting he outscores Trent that week, doesn't he? So over the course of a few weeks, maybe Trent Hall sometimes, maybe Simicast the other
Yeah,
weeks.
that's fair.
Likewise with someone like Shah I think I moaned about this on here the other a little while ago when they played PSG at home. Trippier doesn't get any attacking returns in that one, but Shah scored a goal. Obviously, that's not the Premier League, but if it was a Premier League game, that would have been, an 8-pointer for Shah versus a 2-pointer for Trippier. And in that scenario, and there has been the occasional game week this season where Shah got an assist for like a penalty away at Wolves, I think it was. He has outscored Trippier occasionally, but when Trippier does score, score more points than Shah, he scores big and he's better on the bonus. So
Yeah, of
yes, those
course.
two are way better options, but I think I'll just hold Shah and Simicast, hope they can not get outscored too much by those two we mentioned, and stick with Son because he's just an asset I want too badly over the likes of, yes, Gordon's good. Maybe Gordon could come in for Mbomo at some point or something like that for me. But for now, Son has been the player I've been building towards for a long time now. And now's the time to get him, I think, and just, accept that I can't get those points from those defenders. Hopefully, I need an injury to someone like Salah or Haaland so I can just guilt free get rid of them, free up some cash, and upgrade my defenders.
It's true. It is very true. Now, let's move on to finally speak about captaincy.
Yes.
Because, interestingly, right, you've got Son in your team now. I put him in your team on the My Team tool. And he has the most predicted points out of all your players this week. I don't know how you feel about
I
that,
see that.
but it's a home fixture against West Ham.
Yeah, West
Decent,
Ham are
decent
just
fixture on
yeah,
paper. The defense hasn't been as solid recently. We know as Areola owners how disappointing he's been from a clean sheet perspective. But if you are to compare now Son, Salah, Haaland, anyone else you're thinking of captaining, who are you going to go with this week?
yeah. Well, originally it was on Salah. It's almost like it's seeing that Sheffield United fixture and knowing how bad they are, even against a fellow struggling team like Burnley. Burnley beat them 5-0. They're the games at Sheffield
Yeah.
United. It's almost a must win for them. And they didn't just go there and like maybe get a draw. They got battered 5-0. So they are in a terrible shape. The manager's going to get sacked today. I saw, I think
Oh, is he?
Ornstein tweeted that. So the
Oh,
manager's
wow.
out the door.
Okay.
Salah was obviously a very consistent, very good asset, as we know. And yeah, for me, it's on Salah as of right now. But yeah, equally, I wouldn't talk anyone out of going for Son at home to West Ham or even Haaland in any fixture. I'd never talk anyone out of that. But I think I will go for Salah. I tweeted from Hub's account on Twitter. There's a graphic of the expected goals conceded for team stats. Sheffield United and Luton are near the top of that graphic, but teams like West Ham are in that graphic as well. They're obviously, as we all know, because we've all got Areola, they are conceding a lot of goals. And they're expected to as well. And interestingly, it's not really relevant to this point, but Man United are on that graphic as well. They're like the sixth worst team for expected goals conceded, which is nuts.
Fair enough.
But yeah, captaincy, like I can see here on my team that, Son is predicted to score more points than just a little bit more than Haaland and much more than Salah. It's just for me. I've seen Sheffield. It's backing Sheffield United for being that bad,
Yeah.
but equally West Ham are conceding goals. But yeah, I will be going for. I'd say I'm 90% on Salah. Yeah, it feels again there wasn't that many clean sheets this week. I don't know how many there were.
No, hardly
Newcastle got
any.
one, didn't they?
Yeah,
There
hardly
wasn't
any.
any on the Sunday, I don't think.
No,
So
none.
it's just every time when you check the scores, it's just like no clean sheets anywhere. Yeah, you could. That's why you can always make a case for your attacking players scoring goals. Like even like Palmer away at Old Trafford, you'd kind of be thinking, away at Old Trafford, that's not a really good fixture. But now I'm thinking Palmer can score well there. So yeah, it's a strange season where, and again, David Moyes, like, swear he used to be a good defensive minded manager who got clean sheets, and now I don't know.
Oh,
They
who
just
knows? Who
their
knows?
expected their expected stats to concede goals isn't good, and their
Poor, aren't
actual
they?
goals
Yeah.
conceded isn't good either. So yeah, Son's a great option this week. Salah's a good option. Haaland again. Villa leak goals, don't they? So Villa are a great side and doing well at home, but even they, as I know from owning Matty Cash, tend to leak some goals. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Haaland, Salah, and Son should all score points this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
But I'm just targeting that Sheffield United fixture as I see them as the worst team in the league.
Yeah, I completely agree. I will also be going for Salah this game week. Clearly the best fixture on paper. He was actually, just looking at the stats there, he was heavily involved in the last game week with over 1 expected goal involvement. So yeah, I mean, as you say, Sheffield United away doesn't get much better than that. I do just though want to give a shout out to the Fantasy Football Hub AI team, which is a team that is being solely run based on the recommendations, the recommended transfers, captains, subs, bench order, whatever, due to Fantasy Football Hub's AI. Now, it's now in the top 100k. It's doing very, very well. A lot of us are struggling out here, still in the hundreds of thousands, even the millions. A lot of experts not doing that well. It's been a tricky old season so far, but a team based solely on the AI tool is doing pretty well now into the top 100k. I had a storming game week last week. And I mentioned that because if these predicted points stay the same up until deadline, then Son will be the captain. And that is going to be very interesting. Where a lot of us are not going to be captaining Son this week, let's be honest. We're going to be going for Salah, but the AI is suggesting that Son has the best fixture and to captain him. And so far, it's paid dividends. Also had a really, really strong overall rank last year as well. And yeah, already into the top 100k. Looking nice. Very good. What do you think about that? Top 100k for the AI team. Strong.
Yes, it's doing very well. You can't argue with it. And it's good to see that because it means that we don't have to follow it blindly for our own teams because, I know a lot of people say, what's the point in just, blindly following, which isn't the point of the team. It's the point of the team is to highlight how good the AI recommendations are.
Yeah.
You can use them, you can use that to help form your decisions. And what it essentially means is the predicted points is actually very good, isn't it? Because it's making transfers based on Hub's predicted points as well and stuff like that. So it means that we can put a lot of faith in the predicted points, stuff like that. So yeah, it's good news all round as a Hub user, really.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to your AI recommended transfers this week. I wasn't going to do this because you said you're pretty set on your transfers, but it seems like throughout the course of this video, you said there could be a little bit of doubt there. Not entirely sure, but
you've got to stay open-minded and consider everything. I have been building towards this Son transfer, but like I've already acknowledged it might be a mistake in terms of pricing myself tying up too much money which blocks essentially or makes it hard to get the likes of Trippier and Trent. But yeah, I think I've made my bed with that, and I'll chance my arm.
So here are the recommended moves, and you'll be pleased to know that Son is in there. It is Diaby out for Son, and it's Alvarez out for Archer. So slightly different. Archer over Semenyo, but
I think it's probably
you've given your reasoning for that. The predicted points are slightly higher for Archer because he is 100% nailed on, but you've given your reasons.
The expected minutes is probably higher for Archer according to the AI, but yeah, I'm happy to have Semenyo over Archer for sure. But yeah, essentially neither of them are amazing options. If you do, I did actually, people probably won't care too much about this, but if you are looking to bring in a cheap striker, maybe you will. I did compare them on the Hub comparison tool as well, and the expected goal involvements per minute and the shots per 90 or whatever however you want to cut the stats does favour Semenyo, or at least it did before this game week, and I can only assume that's still the case after he obviously scored this week as well.
There we go. So validation for your moves. As I said, once again, the hub tool doing really well this season. Did as well last season. It's a very good tool, and it's good to see it doing so well. And there you go. Seeing that, does it give you a bit more confidence to go with your gut?
Yeah, it essentially is. It's pretty much my exact transfers. I know there is a difference between Archer and Semenyo, but it's going to be the bench player anyway. And like I said, I think that Semenyo's minutes seem more doubtful because of the season so far, but I actually don't think that's the case. So I think there's a potential, because the algorithm is always updating and stuff like that, that Semenyo's predicted points over the couple of weeks will probably change with Archer anyway. So, and again, this is where you use the tool, but then you just use some slight human intervention. I'm really happy that they match up pretty much entirely. So yeah, good to know.
Well, there we go, guys. If you would like to see your own AI recommended transfers for this game week, as Wes said, you don't have to follow it blindly, and I actually don't recommend you do. I think that's kind of boring. It's all about making your own picks in fantasy. But this game week in particular, we do not have a lot of time to work things out, work out the best possible transfers for weeks down the line. Sometimes it is just a little bit easier if you just go and have a look and say, oh yeah, that looks pretty reasonable. And it lines up with my thinking. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. If you do want to do that yourself for your own team, completely personalized to your team, link to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub is down below. And that will also give you access to Wes's final team reveal, which will be coming up very soon, Wes, right? Tomorrow. And we'll see which transfers you are going to make. Guys, make sure, do not miss the deadline. This is the crunch period where missing a deadline can be very, very harmful, of course. The main thing is, I know we all talk about like these are the best transfers, he's the best captain. Make sure you don't miss a deadline. That's the hardest part throughout December, in my opinion. That is the key. Yeah. Wes, thank you, my friend, as always. Good luck next game week. And good luck to all you guys as well.